Madzibaba Ishmael was running a cult. Madzibaba Ishmael was running a cult. I said, that's not true now. It's unfortunate that there is a proverb that says when the rich man is sick, the poor man goes to apologize and say, I'm sorry, say you are sick. But when the poor man gets sick, he waits until he is fully recovered. And when he is fully recovered, he goes to apologize to the rich man. I'm sorry, say I was sick. It's the poor man apologizing all the time. There is nothing, listen to me, there is nothing that Madzibaba Ishmael was doing at his church that Wimbo was not doing. That Marange Church is not doing until now. If there is any serious journalist who wants to talk about a cult in Zimbabwe that has destroyed the lives of many women, they must talk about Joan Marange.
Yes.
Children are getting married at the age of 12. If you die at Marange Church, they bury you there. There are many graves at Marange Church there. They have a place called Chitsidzo. It's a church that does not allow people to go to hospital when they are sick. We have lost many relatives because they are being forced by a very, very bogus doctrine to not seek medical treatment from the hospital. The reason why no journalist, no politician will talk about Joan Marange is because they are afraid of the tyrant and their tyrannical political party, ZANU-PF. Joan Marange is untouchable because they vote for ZANU-PF. It's a scratch my back and I'll scratch your back arrangement between ZANU-PF and churches in Zimbabwe. The leaders of Joan Marange promises ZANU-PF every time they are in elections, our people will vote for you. In return, say no evil, see no evil about us. If I become a president on Friday, on Saturday there will be no Joan Marange Church. I'm telling you.
Yes.
Tinana mainini zu vakatadza kupedza form 4 vaendeswa kuvarume.
Yes.
Nana baba vavo zvichinzi mutemo wechurch. How many young girls are dying because of birth delivery complications? Women are being helped to deliver children by community trained midwives in Joan Marange. Some medical situations need professional nurses and doctors. We have graves of hundreds of thousands of Zimbabweans who died because they attended a cult called Joan Marange. You are using Madzibaba Ishmael as a scapegoat. A small man with a small congregation doing nothing different than what Marange is doing, than what Wimbo was doing, than what Mutendi is doing with his ZCC. How many people have died in the ZCC and mysteriously, questionably, and yet nobody investigated? Just last year, a bus overturned when they were going to their Easter congregation convocation. Nobody investigated. More than 18 people died. If it was JRM people who died in Zimbabwe through a bus accident, going to a church program, until today, everybody will be writing, Chiwenga killed his members. He sacrificed them in a ritual. Nobody will talk about Mutendi because they are ZANU-PF prostitutes. Don't tell me about Madzibaba Ishmael. Zvakafanana neuyu Gumbura uyu. Tinozviziva yesu Gumbura kuti nyaya yakaendeserwa kujeri yanga isiri vakadzava. Inhau yamama iya negoridhe rekumazowe tozviziva isu. Chakafira Gumbura kujeri haisi nhau yevakadzi vaakarepa, inhau yegold kumazowe. Akaita conflict naamai akanzi tokusota. We know that. Right now, we have another man who is still in jail. Tell us why he is still in jail. Now we see somebody saying he now owns or runs his hospital in Mount Pleasant. Did he sell that hospital to him, or they arm twisted him to force him to relinquish his ownership of that hospital, Arundel Hospital, which belongs to Munyaradzi Kereke? I do not believe that Munyaradzi Kereke is in jail because of that sexual assault case. I believe that he also became a political victim. What happened in the corridors of power? Because Munyaradzi Kereke was a darling of the Lacoste faction of ZANU-PF, to such an extent that when he ran for election as a candidate for the parliamentary seat of Bikita, the Lacoste faction, through the help of the military, they gave Munyaradzi Kereke a helicopter, and he went to do campaigns using a military helicopter. What happened between Mnangagwa's faction and Munyaradzi Kereke? What happened? Tell me about corruption, and tell me what happened to the testimony that Munyaradzi Kereke wrote in a very big document and submitted it to the Zimbabwe Anti-Corruption Commission, reporting of how much billions of dollars were stolen by Gono from the RBZ. If Munyaradzi Kereke had not written that report to the Anti-Corruption Commission, Munyaradzi Kereke would not have been arrested until today. Those who remember Munyaradzi Kereke's rape case, it had been reported so many years before he was arrested. They only arrested him because he started a fight with his boss, Gideon Gono, who was a personal banker to the then First family. He is not in jail because of a crime. There are political reasons why Munyaradzi Kereke is in jail. But I have questions concerning the ownership or the association of Kudata Gwirei and Munyaradzi Kereke's hospital in Mount Pleasant. I do not see that as a clean business transaction between two business people. By the way, Zimbabweans must know that the land reform program is now being reversed by the Mnangagwa cartel. Farmers are now being ordered to vacate their farms by any ZANU-PF bigwig who is close to the First family. Some of them are receiving letters from the Ministry of Lands. They are being given a few days. Leave that farm, it doesn't belong to you. Those people have valid offer letters. They took land and said, we are taking land from the white men. Land belongs to the black people. Black people are now losing land. If you have a piece of land that you got through the farm the farm program, the repossession of land from the white minority people in the 2000s, war veterans who are not close to the First family are losing land to the army people, to the Politburo people, to business people that are close to the First family. And I want you to know that it's a warning also. That land has one advantage. You can't put it into a Swiss bank account. That's one good thing about land. You can't take land in Zimbabwe and go and bank it in Dubai. It's very easy to correct the land grabbing issues happening right now since the Second Republic came into office. There are people who lost properties in Harare. One of them called me and said somebody had a property in a low density suburb in Harare. So he advertised this house and said, I'm selling this house for close to $200,000 or $250,000. One of the people who are close to Mnangagwa said, I'm giving you 30,000 and 7 days to leave this. If you don't leave, you will see what will happen to you. That's what is happening right now. If they want a property that you have, they will just offer you a small money, or they will come with an offer letter or a title deed manufactured in the deeds office. They say your title deeds are dated 2017, mine are dated 1914. I owned this property before your father was born. Leave. There's a lot of corruption involving land in Zimbabwe. The Minister of Lands and the deeds office are involved. In other countries, when you are buying land, the conveyancers are not allowed to give the selling price to the seller. They hold it in a trust account, pending the transfer of the property from the deeds office, from the seller's name to put it into the buyer's name.
Yes.
The day the title deeds come in the name of the new buyer, that is the day the conveyancer releases money to the seller's account.
Yes.
In Zimbabwe, when you are buying land, you give the full amount to the seller, and he promises to transfer the property into your name. Connect this law with a corrupt ZANU-PF government. It's a disaster. So many people have lost their properties to land grabbing scams. It involves the city of Harare and every metropolitan council in Zimbabwe. In Kwekwe, it's there. In Kadoma, it's there. In Mutare, it's there. In Bulawayo, it's there. You take 5 years to get title deeds. But the person who sold you the land, he already has used the money. Some of them, you go to the council, they tell you, this property is not in his name. He was a land baron. But you wrote them a letter, and they confirmed that the land is in the owner of this property is the valid owner. When you come back to them and say, you gave me this letter, they say the person who gave you this letter was corrupt. We fired him 2 months ago. They transfer him to another city. That's what they are doing.
Yes.
And we are wondering why our legislators sleeping and writing useless and stupid laws. Why can't we change the act that controls by which transactions are done to do with acquisition of land? Why must I give you money when the property is not yet in my name? We say we have educated people in Zimbabwe. Which educated people do we have? Where are our lawyers? The so-called lawyers who speak a lot of good grammar on Twitter, and yet they don't challenge these bogus laws. Why do we still have a law that must have existed in the 1920s? This is a legal loophole created deliberately by land thieves. Unotenga land munompa mari oti takuenda kunochinja mazita kwaregistra. Saka Maria watora ndeye. Go to England, go to Germany, go to Dubai, go to the USA, go to South Africa, go to Namibia. It doesn't work like that. Money is held by the conveyancer, who must have insurance for his conveyancing practice in a trust account. And the interest that the money attracts during the transfer period, they are paid back to the buyer's account. It is only when the deeds are in your name that the seller receives your money and you take occupation of the property. The rights of land buyers are not protected in Zimbabwe. Our parliament is extremely useless. And our lawyers are also to blame for that. Some of them, they are transferring to public practice. They are becoming judges. And yet when we look at their practice before they joined the bench, they did nothing to challenge the legal statutes by which the rights of the people are protected in the country. That's nonsense. Munotaura kuti muri lawmakers, mutemo wamurugadzira ndewei? Why do we have a law that protects cattle and leaves people vulnerable? Look at how many documents you need to be signed by authorities to slaughter your own cow. And yet people are disappearing every day. It needs more papers to kill a cow. It needs no paper to kill a person. You need a letter from the veterinary services. You need a letter from the village head or the deep tank personnel. You need a letter from the ZRP to prove that this is your cow. How does a person who has stolen a cow go to jail and serve 7 years? And yet a person who was seen abducting the people in Zimbabwe is still walking free in us. Are you saying to us cattle's lives are more important than us? My question is to our so-called lawmakers. Which law are you making? And whose interest are you defending in parliament? It's better to shut down that stupid parliament and let Mnangagwa rule by himself like a king, because that's what he's doing anyway. Can you imagine? Now they are saying Madzibaba Ishmael, Madzibaba Ishmael. That guy is just a charlatan like my guide, Makandiwa, nothing is serious about him. There's nothing that is gross that Madzibaba Ishmael was doing. He's not newsworthy. Tell us about how many people we have reported to the police that they were sexually abused by Magaya, and yet Magaya is walking free until today. Tell us all about our little daughters forced to marry elderly men in Marange's church. You don't hear anybody reporting it in the Herald. And you say, I'm a journalist, I'm an ethical journalist. Which journalism are you talking about? You spend the whole day speaking about sex and bedroom stuff, and you are abandoning matters to do with our existence. We have existential problems in the society. Every podcaster wants to talk about bedroom things. This is the reason why you won't find us being interviewed by them. Because our integrity is not for sale.